you had to have a video, which is very true. If you didn't have a video, you were doomed. You know, and I think all of us hated that. I think the ones who didn't grow up in the video era hated that, because then we had to become something that was competing with something we didn't like. You suddenly had the hair band.
Ronnie James Dio was an American vocalist and writer who had a net worth of $10 million at the time of his death. Ronnie James Dio is known for founding and fronting many bands over the years, including Elf, Rainbow, Heaven and Hell, and Black Sabbath. He is widely considered one of heavy metal's greatest vocalists of all time and is credited with popularizing the devil horns hand gesture as seen throughout hard rock music. Ronnie James Dio was born Ronald James Padavona on July 10, 1942, in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. His family moved to New York when he was a child, and he began playing the French horn and trumpet while in elementary school. By the time he reached high school, Ronnie had already recorded singles with multiple bands. In high school, he played bass guitar in a band called the Vegas Kings.
It is a lot different. I think the difference is that with the one we did a year ago, well, a little bit longer than that, was more three rock bands, three just out-and-out rock bands. I think with, and I don't, not only do I think, but I know that with Alice, it's more of a production. It's more of a, it's more rock and cabaret, because his show is, you know, part of what he does is all visual as well as audio. So there's a great difference in that way. I find that to be really the total difference.
Have you ever tried to top Alice's stage show?
I think we have topped Alice's stage show. Sure, we had, don't forget, we had a 25-foot dragon on ours with lasers and everything else that Alice probably would love to have. No, his shows are great. I mean, I don't think anything could compare to someone getting hanged or electrocuted. I mean, I think in their way, they were just very different shows, but I think we've certainly come up to that standard without a doubt, more than once.
The group was later renamed Ronnie and the Redcaps after he took over as lead singer. After recording a few singles, the group members changed and the band was renamed Ronnie and the Prophets. The band stuck together until 1967, releasing one album and multiple singles. In 1967, Ronnie formed the rock band Elf with former bandmate Nick Pantes, and they became a regular opening act for Deep Purple. When Deep Purple guitarist Richie Blackmore formed the band Rainbow in 1975, he asked Dio to be the lead singer. During Ronnie's tenure with Rainbow, the band released 3 studio albums, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, Rising, and Long Live Rock and Roll. Ronnie James Dio and Richie Blackmore split, and Blackmore took the band in a more commercial direction with Graham Bonnet on vocals. Ronnie James Dio quickly emerged as one of rock's top vocalists, and in 1979, he replaced Ozzy Osbourne as the lead singer in Black Sabbath. He appeared on 3 studio albums with Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules, and Dehumanizer, all of which were successful. In 1982, Ronnie James Dio left Black Sabbath to form his own band, Dio. Dio had 2 albums certified platinum by the RIAA. Their debut album, Holy Diver, included the hit singles Rainbow in the Dark and Holy Diver.
One of the things Ronnie is known for is inventing the devil horns, the most enduring symbol of heavy metal culture.
I'm of Italian extraction, and my grandmother and my grandfather on both sides, of both my mother's and father's side, came to America from Italy, and they had superstitions. And I would always see my grandmother when I was a little kid, you know, with her holding my hand and walking down the street. She would see someone and go, "What's that?" And eventually learned that it was called the Maloik. And the Maloik was, someone was giving us the evil eye, so she's giving it protection against the evil eye. Or you can give someone the evil eye too. So invent it, no, but perfect it and make it important, yes, because I did it so much, especially within the confines of that great band Sabbath, which had this incredible name already, and you put that together with what people think it is. But for me, because I'm lucky enough to have kind of just have done it so much, it's been more equated with me than anyone else. Although Gene Simmons will tell you that he invented it, but then again, Gene invented breathing and shoes and everything, you know.
What makes metal unique? What makes the fans and the culture of metal unique, do you think?
Well, I think it's probably more than anything the fact that it becomes a great big family of people who all share one thing, and that is metal. They just love it, and it's really them against the world. It really is, and I think that's its importance, and that's why it lasts so long.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ryan.
band changed members over the years, but in all, they released 10 albums, with Master of the Moon being the last one in 2004. In October of 2006, Dio joined Black Sabbath members Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and former drummer Vinny Appice to tour under the new name Heaven and Hell, named after the title of the first Dio-era Black Sabbath album. They felt it best to use a different moniker for this version of the band. In 2007, they recorded 3 new songs under the Black Sabbath name for the compilation album, Black Sabbath, The Dio Years. They released 1 album under the Heaven and Hell moniker, The Devil You Know. Ronnie James Dio's powerful vocals and extended, versatile range have landed him many honors and accolades over his career. He was awarded the Metal Guru Award by Classic Rock magazine in 2006 and named the Best Metal Singer at the Revolver Golden Gods Awards in 2010. In 2013, Dio was ranked the genre's best vocalist by music journalist Sacha Jenkins. And in January of 2017, Ronnie James Dio was inducted into the Hall of Heavy Metal History. Ronnie James Dio and his first wife, Loretta Berardi, married in 1963 and divorced in 1972. They adopted his son together. Dio married Wendy Walters in 1978, a band manager throughout the 1980s. In November of 2009, it was announced that Dio was diagnosed with stomach cancer. He underwent treatment at the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas, and Heaven and Hell canceled all of their summer tour dates. Ronnie James Dio passed away 6 months later on May 16, 2010.
I read in an interview you said you never write ballads. Why's that?
Well, I mean, I think I leave those silly subjects to people who need to talk about silly subjects, and I find music to be a lot more serious subject than someone's broken heart. I think, love affairs are for Bon Jovi, and songs with a little bit more mystery and imagination are for people like me or for like Alice, perhaps.
Have you ever tried writing one?
Yeah, I think we certainly touched upon it and had to in Rainbow. There were a lot of times when Richie would request that something like that be done. I try to stay away from it as much as possible, and I think try to make it a little bit different than any other kind of ballad, so to speak. But yeah, I've touched upon it. I find it very easy to do. I don't like things that are easy. I like things that are a challenge to me, and I don't find them challenging at all.
Do your stories, are they purely fictional, or do they relate or reflect your real life?
I think they reflect my feelings. I think what I've tried to do is always to write songs that are just like what everybody does write, except that I write them in different terms. I could tell the same story that anyone tells about a relationship between anyone, but I try to put them in ways that people have to use their imagination, just to make people think a little bit more. And when you strip them down, they are really about good versus evil, or